on my neck, nothing on my fist, it's all on my check. Don't you get the gist? I got the confidence, don't need a brand on my chest. Hey, I know what my value is. Hey, wealthy people don't need jewelry. Hey, look at 21 Savage and Bill Gates. Hey, rap industry got a complex. I turned reality into a lucid dream. I turned a lucid dream into whipped cream. Cash rules, nothing around. I only use it for paper planes, actually. I'm the opposite of Microsoft, I'm big and hard. Let that resonate, maybe a little more. I got that lyricism sprinkled with a lot of flow. I made my sauce authentic on the chopping board. Baby, it's spicy, be careful. Don't shake the bottle too much, be gentle. It's kinda high on the Scoville level. Don't burn your tongue, get it in your eyes too. I turned reality into a lucid dream. I turned a lucid dream into whipped cream. Cash rules, nothing around me. I only use it for paper planes, actually. Self-care, yeah, I got a lot of that. No food tastes good as having a six-pack. You should cut your snacks same way you cut that crack. Then you wouldn't look fat as a Cadillac. Baby, looking like a snack. I can see you did some squats on the squat rack. I don't need a beat, I don't really need a track. You can be my producer with your booty clap. I turned reality into a lucid dream. I turned a lucid dream into whipped cream. Cash rules, nothing around me. I only use it for paper planes, actually. Baby, keep your pants on, zip tight, locked off. This is not the time for you to rack it up. We be in court, the judge is getting cross. You robbed the bank, baby, you took your mask off. You took 100K and left it at my front door. Thought it was funny, nice joke. Cause you know I bail you out no matter what the cost. I need that flavor, baby, shit, cause I got the sauce. Cause I got the sauce. I said it cause I got the sauce. Shit, cause I got the sauce. Shit, cause I got the sauce.
John Gotti, CTM Music Group, baby. Woo! Pow! Yeah, I'm trying to get the fame, I'm just trying to get rich. We do it for the big face, dead presidents. I got a Lamborghini dream, still got Mercedes tips. And yes, I'm a boss, but I'm looking for a lick. You gotta get it how you live your life is like this. And yes, I need 36, a whole fucking brick. Rolling through the city, got my Louis Lowe's on. And I tell these motherfuckers, yeah, I get my smoke on. Streets strong, bust out the bomb. Smoking all day, flipping bricks by the yard. And you can try to, but don't quit your day job. The streets up and make the times real hard. That's why I got all these tattoo scars. Chilling in the city bars, rolling in the fancy cars. Smoking out the superstar. Yeah, I look like a model. B-I-O-R. Money in the rubber band, stack it till you can't work. Yeah, I got the trade problems, got a real loud part. I do my dirt in the dark, fucking do it broad day. Got so many toys, AKs, SKs, long range, red stain, no brand. Who am I kidding, motherfucker, crown praise. Yeah, I'm trying to get the fame, I'm just trying to get rich. We do it for the big face, dead presidents. I got a Lamborghini dream, still got Mercedes Benz. And yes, I'm a boss, but I'm looking for a lick. You gotta get it how you live your life is like this. And yes, I need 36, a whole fucking brick.
New York niggas in Hollywood. Yeah, nigga. Niggas smell that.
When it comes to money,
I'm Ebony Shrews. My niggas ride niggas and they crazy, they Jews. I used to ask God for things, but I would never get it. Now I'm just stealing, ask God for forgiveness. You worry about the wrong man, I'm the shooter. Give a man an inch, and he think he the ruler. There's no I in team, it is a me. American dream to believe it, you gotta be a slave. I know it's bad, but I'm high anyway. Eat healthy, stay fit, high anyway. Stay to talk to God, gotta pray, but I don't get it. So when God talk back to me, that hell's just a credit. I don't talk shit, I pull up pistols. I'm like a ventriloquist, you never see my lips move. Throwing money up, catch any bitch. Box fat, can even go skinny dipping. I started with nothing and still have most of it. I'm pulling out hammers like jumping Jehoshaphat. I can't remember the last time I forgot something. Just cause it's decoration, niggas don't stop rocking. It's sticky fingers, I'm maniac depressive. I'm passive aggressive, just not the message. You know who the best is, better have your best. I'm good, big, black, and ugly, I call that bitch precious. I sweat on my nose, they say that I'm an evil brother. I'm a warlock, I see things in green and color. You think it can't happen till you got flesh. Supposed to make it right, but believe me, free laughs, we keep it clean with the whips. Clean up with the guns, stab down 100, try to get the ones. Kush rope sticky, niggas smoke guns. Just a grown man, P.I. Dad, you like the sons. I don't give a shit, give a shit. The niggas, we don't give a shit, give a shit. Tell that nigga bro, I don't give a shit, give a shit. The niggas, New York niggas is up.
Oh, fuck it.
New York niggas is up.
Really. Remote control. I'm in control.
Yeah, we rep for the street niggas, man. The voice of the streets, the black top. Yeah, we rep for the street.
I'ma let my truck bang. Let the trunk bang like I bust things. Let my nuts hang while I'm hustling. Ain't in the dope game, but I rap slang. Dig it like cocaine when I rock things. Let the trunk bang like I bust things. Let my nuts hang while I'm hustling. Ain't in the dope game, but I rap slang. Dig it like cocaine when I rock things. And if you can tell that I made, got bars on me like my phone got paid. Drinking and driving, swerving on the stay stuck in the same ass maze. Maybe I should write this, or maybe I should write that. No, I don't like this, and no, I don't like that. I want you to feel the shit more than these hi-hats. I want it to the shit, I don't wanna hear my rhymes whack. I don't beat around the bush, I beat around the block. I ain't need none push, sucking on the cock. All I need is a push to make it to the top. Try out that push at the bottom of the road. Dreams are far-fetched, but I'ma go catch it. You ain't seen bars yet, this is just a message. I'm bringing that hard shit, I can blow like a weapon. Packing some more snake in case I feel sweat. The trunk bang like I bust things. Let my nuts hang while I'm hustling. Ain't in the dope game, but I rap slang. Dig it like cocaine when I rock things. Let the trunk bang like I
Nah. They tryna throw a gun on me. It's only allegations. If it was mine, it wasn't case they tried to run on me. 85 is what they asking, but I won't fight this late. Got a little daughter to raise, so I'ma fight the case. When I got that phone call, man, I couldn't talk that talk. You an angel, I'm white in that wooden box. That's a vision I could never remove. And if I go, it's cause I'm dancing with the devil in the heavenly mood. That's like mixing water with oil and crippling with their blood in there. Fuck this game shit. I just really want my brother back. I want that joy put back in his brother's heart. I want them bullets reversed that hit his brother's car. When I back the ratchet ahead and act in the ways. If we ain't friends, this ain't back in the days. 2017, I'll probably put the Mac to his face. Fuck these shows, I'm strapped up at the back of the stage. I'll shoot it up and then I'll join the crowd. On my hit shit, while I'm running, disassemble it on some sick shit. Take the screens out so we won't shooting ballistics. And that's how you get away with charges on some stick shit. Yeah, I was raised with the savages. Grew up with them savages, never ran in my savage kicks. I only slap back and through hard tall. And this rap shit ain't the only way I put my hood on. Put my hood on with a black mask and a broken strap. Still bang 6 and dented whips when I hold it back. While I roll with that in these streets, there ain't no holding back. Gotta move needing the street, busting an older strap. I got 7 in that 5th like my block number. 17 in the clip for my blockbusters. I ain't gotta wait for my team. This ain't no blockbuster. My young boy was 14 when he shot something. 15 in that Beretta he bust. I stay reppin'. I never changed my sweater in months. Even when I got knocked, nigga, I was reppin' the same. A week later, 10 bands just to get off the cage. Fake love, handshakes and hugs. There's 8 in the snub. That's 2 more than the 38 I gave to my cuz. And if you know me, you know that I've been real. Since a little youth, I'm the block riding big wheels. But I'm a lot older on this block with the big steel. Peanut butter Glock left his brains on the windshield. Drop paper, scissors, spin kick like a windmill. 4-5 clip hang lower than the windshield.
Say crime paid, so I'm outside with a 9's wave. Dark clouds follow me everywhere I go. I'm hearing voices talking to me while I'm sleeping at night. Eyes open, can't move, getting person to sight. Premonitions and visions, you can see the red in my eyes like the red light underneath the black 45. How you got it done, but you ain't walking with it. It's like a pit bull locked in a cage. Truth through flesh when it bark active bite. Flee the scene low key, quiet storm playing on a getaway. Roll a blunt to calm my nerves. Adrenaline still rushing through my veins. It was either me or him, so for that I couldn't complain. Simple message for you little niggas, better stay out the way. Test my arms, then I bear arms. It's only right. I do you niggas like they did King, cause of hell that the red light. You try to reach, then I wheel it with the Mac. Broad day shooters, you know about it. In the West End, everybody heard about it. On that Master P, all my niggas about it. When you flame lit, niggas coming through the alley. Yellow tape on your strip, hella shells on the floor. That's how my niggas do it when it's time for the war. That's how my niggas do it when it's time for the war, nigga. 714G, nigga. Fifth for the motherfucking crack.
So we keep flipping back and forth from the news to the music in the same fucking city. Are we making this shit up? We're not making this shit up. And look at all the fucking ways people. You think it's just, oh, somebody's gonna walk up and shoot you. Yeah, it's not that simple. There's fucking 1,000 fucking ways to that. Holy. I don't want to navigate away from the screen. Fucking nothing. I want to go all the way back to the beginning. I got way more tracks to draw upon, but this play. Okay, so we already did this one. I need a time filler while I roll a joint.
What's up, bro? So you said I could rap and all my songs suck? Well, how about you suck on this one, you little bitch? Yeah, that's me. You're sick, you're disgusting, you're a dick, fucking prick, fucking user, fucking loser, you will never amount to shit. You're sick, you're disgusting, you're a dick, fucking prick, fucking user, fucking loser, you will never amount to shit. Damn, what is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? Think you flex on me and everything will stay cool? You have got another thing coming. I'm about to bring that pain. I'ma make you say my name. I'ma make you into a joke. You can dodge fucking croak. You can always fucking croak. If you try to step to me, you will always fucking see. You are just a joke to me. There is nothing you can say that could ever bring me down. You have already lost, you stupid fucking clown. Can't you see? I don't fuck around. This ain't a game. When I talk about my name, I will enter the Hall of Fame. I'm a beast you cannot tame. Can you really say the same? No, you can't. You just a little baby back bitch that got yourself locked in the back of the pantry closet. You're so lucky you haven't lost it. I'm gonna be like a fucking comet. You're so gross, I'm about to bomb. You can hold on to my pocket, bitch. You're sick. You're disgusting. You're a dick. Fucking prick. Fucking loser. Fucking loser. You will never amount to shit. You're sick. You're disgusting. You're a dick. Fucking prick. Fucking user. Fucking loser. You will never amount to shit. Holy fuck. I'm gonna laugh so hard and make me fucking cry every time you try to spit your dirty raps at me. Are you blind, mentally challenged, that you have it stuck up in your head that you live close to me, bitch? No, you ain't. You are trash that belongs in the fucking dump. So I'm so fucking high up. Come and see. I can't even see the ground. Everywhere I wanna look around, you are nowhere to be found. Wanna go another round? Ha! Let's see you try. Motherfucker, you ain't got shit on me. Listen to me, plain and see. Listen to me as I tear this out. Where you are round, round and round. You have no fucking clue who the fuck it is that I am messed with. What the fuck you gonna do when I come on blow on through? Are you gonna talk shit about my mom, about my sis, about my girl? Shit, dude. Leave them all the fuck alone. You don't even really fucking know them.
There's
So
a
shut the fuck up.
backstory to this.
Nah, 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 nah. You're a gay ass bitch. Nah, 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 nah. You're a dumbass, you guys fool. Nah, 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 nah. You really think you have a chance? Ha ha ha. Looks to me like you ran out of steam. You're sick, you're disgusting, you're a dick, fucking prick, fucking user, fucking loser. You will never amount to shit. You're sick, you're disgusting, you're a dick, fucking prick, fucking user, fucking loser. You will never amount to shit. Yeah, yeah. You will never amount to shit. Yeah, yeah. You better fucking give up now.
Yeah, this is where we left up. Last fucking thing.
Till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot what they do. What they doing, we put our hand on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleed on devils, leaving some rebels on the rise. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back.
Running up with those standing in no way out. Ain't the type to break, cause friends for the ones that wanna be saved and not. I'm gonna be saved, I'm gonna put in work for all my peoples in the dirt, assuring you your death is worth something and no nothing. It's never gonna slow us down with the spirit of a warrior on the front line before what's not even blood can stop us now. We glad with us, take it with us, fuck with us, steady, ready for whatever comes our way. Molotov thrown breaking out in flames, burning everything inside, can't tame the beast in me. I'm insane, coming for the brain, cause the pain never cease. Ripping up and night, feel the teeth and blood dropping. My motive is explosive to stop the intruders in the tracks popping up my head. Staying straight, it wasn't until them bodies said it ain't over till I lost his back, and that's a fact. Where you at in the struggle, baby? Stab is on the hustle. I'm gonna grab them by the face and wrap their mouth around my muzzle.
What they do, what they doing, we put our hand on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleed on devils, leaving some rebels coming to ride. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot what they do, what they doing, we put our hand on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleed on devils, leaving some rebels coming to ride. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, we gon' blast until they dropping off our land now. You know we stand by, out here watching the fam die. I'm dumb busted, dumb son on these motherfucking bloodsucking vampires. Know your place, they say, but we've embraced the hate and chase away the pain. Now we the range and say that ain't a bang on anybody looking good. You looking now, you made me this. Look around now, you pussy devils murdering baby kids. You in the midst of a war, people are going pistons, swirling anti-tank missiles into cities and leave them listening torn. Don't get on Norris, be poisonous just like the old days. A whole gang of savages don't care to die of old age. It's so sacred, this hatred that we was born with. Nurture for the purpose of keeping us on this war shit. Some wagon burners, we angry at the time.
Wagon burners.
Look while we power and watch them die slow. What they do, what they doing, we put our hand on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleed on devils, leaving some rebels coming to ride. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot what they do, what they doing, we put our hand on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleed on devils, leaving some rebels coming to ride. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back.
If you ready to go to war right now, instead of this war, we just taking them down to the floor. We bringing this heat so raw, we savage down to the core. We've been waiting for this so long, and now we ready like never before. And there ain't no stopping us again.
this metropolis. We taking hostages and counting up the intel. We taking their heads off just to show you this shit's real. We hold javelins, no for bones, shattering, hosting domes, battering, holy, so savage shit. Ghosting with the power like the storms. Hurricanes running through my veins, coming with no remorse. You better be ready for us. You ready with any force. And fuck your military, cause we coming to take down force. What? See what they started now. America is the target. They call it the home of the brave man. I call it the home of the heartless. What the fuck they do? What the fuck they do? We going in on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleeding devils, leaving some rebels going to ride. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back. What they doing? We bleeding in on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleeding devils, leaving some rebels coming to ride. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back.
This for my niggas, I do this for my people, I do this for my tribe, I do this for myself.
Oh, that took way too long. 5 fingers turned into a fist.
Go out to whoever made this beat. YG, you did your thing, man. But no disrespect, I ain't no nigga. I'ma ride for my motherfucking natives. Most likely I'ma die with my finger on the trigger. I've been grinding outside all day with my natives, and I ain't going in unless I'm with my native, 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 my motherfucking native, my 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 motherfucking native. Yeah, I'ma ride, I'ma die, and I'ma do it for my natives. So whooping and we're hooping, and I do it for my natives, for my natives. I put on for my natives, I show out for my natives, for my natives. I do this for my natives, I do this for my people, I do this for my tribe, I do this for myself. I got to stay alive. My natives know what's up, cause my natives know it down. Got my natives all around, from my town to your town. It ain't no problem, we do the damn thing. Closer with my BF, 59, 50, it's all red, everything, and you heard me right. I be swooping and we're hooping all damn night. I do this for my natives, I do this for my natives. We good on hand, but I'm just demonstrating. The ways I was shown. I was born and bred for the rest, that's why I call it home. You can leave me alone if you don't want problems. Me and my natives, yeah, we always gotta solve some. Cause that beef so we can even get about the day. I'ma ride, I'ma die, I'ma do it for my natives. I'ma ride for my motherfucking natives. Most likely I'ma die with my finger on the trigger. I've been grinding outside all day with my natives, and I ain't going in unless I'm with my native, 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 my motherfucking native, my 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 motherfucking native. Yeah.
Riding for my natives for the duration of my life. Non-reservation is the place I wanna find. So you better recognize I'm not stopping till I cop until my day of expiration, and they hit my end of time. It's not the expectation that I'm gonna live by. Savage on my death is always represent my kind. No more explanation, you already know why. My natives.
I'ma ride for my motherfucking natives. Most likely I'ma die with my finger on the trigger. I've been grinding outside all day with my natives, and I ain't going in unless I'm with my native, 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 my motherfucking native, my 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 motherfucking native. Yeah. Goes out to whoever made this beat. YG, you did your thing, man. But no disrespect, I ain't no nigga. I'ma ride for
New York, nigga.
Got hit. overdose, overdose, overdose.
You already know what it is.
Overdose,
Cody King and overdose.
overdose.
That's us. Raise a shot to another fucking year. Light that blunt if you high like air. Start that line if you don't fucking care. I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs.
I do everything I want. I do everything I want. I can do anything I want. I can do anything I want.
I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs. I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs. Winner, chicken dinner, I'm gonna eat you up. I'm in the club, I'm gonna have a party, I'm gonna live it up. Take another pill or another shot. Here's another dab, I can never get enough. Need enough so we can last. Yeah, I'm a dirty ass, grimy line starter. That's how I keep my motivation. I'll do fine with just the chord. That way can be on top of my zone. I don't need to scatter my thoughts when I'm relying lyrical miracles. Everything else to me don't matter. Watch your back. I'm a vicious ass rapper. True, I am. Fuck the jelly before the peanut butter. Put it back in the cracker, Ritz slapper. I'm a drug blaster. Always doing what I want. Try and stop me, motherfucker. Raise a shot to another fucking year. Light that blunt if you high like air. Start that line if you don't fucking care. I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs.
I do everything I want. I do everything I want. I can do anything I want. I can do anything I want.
I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs. I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs.
I'ma fire it up like it's a fresh doobie. No, you silly flamers, not that chili day movie. My mind is kinda screwy from these drugs I'm doing, but I don't think that I'm really losing. All of the bruising and shooting has got my mind losing. These lyrics for you bluesies. Don't you know me? I lost all my homies. They all overdose cheap. You ain't in my whole beef.
Where they at?
Just ate a gummy, now everything is floating. Snort a couple addies, I must keep going. Gotta keep flowing, these drugs take funding. Always steady stunting, yeah, we fucking running.
Raise a shot to another fucking year. Light that blunt if you high like air. Start that line if you don't fucking care. I don't. I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs.
I do everything I want. I do everything I want.
I can do anything I want. We can do anything we want. I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs. Yeah, we do. I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs.
Cody King and overdose, ain't no little pump, bitch. Did a fat ringer while Cody's doing bumps. Hey. All day, hit the ground running. Couple beats and bitch, you know we steady buzzing.
Yeah, I can do anything I want. 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 I do drugs, I do drugs, I do drugs.
Miles.
There's like a theme in my music.
Got it for the low, got it for the low. What you really know, I got all the snow. Come right off the boat, come right off the boat. Come right off the boat, come right off the boat. This year you already know. I feel like I've been the GOAT. I know I can hold my own. I know I can hold my own. All I know that comes get it one day. I'm cruising down the highway.
How would you like to fucking see me sit next to you in the airplane? I'm from Canada. My government's gonna take care of me.
I'm cruising down the highway.
Are you gonna eat that?
Get it one day.
Get it
talking, but they never lived it. I've been gunning for them 7 digits. Came back with a better vision. I ain't never switching. I'ma get this chicken. Crime pays, that's my way. Try to tell them, but they never listen. Fuck the ops, fuck the cops. I'ma make the millions win a Merry Christmas. I've been on it since Dipset. Now they wanna get their lips wet. All these bitches used to try to swear me. Now I'm flexing on them with this pimp set. All I know that crime pays. I wanna get it one day. I'm cruising down the highway. All I know that crime pays. Get 'em on the 5 ways. I'm cruising down the highway. I wanna get it one day. All I know that crime pays. I wanna get it one day. I'm cruising down the highway. All I know that crime pays. Hit 'em on the 5 ways. I'm cruising down the highway. I wanna get it one day. If I die before I wake, pray to the Lord my soul to take. If I die before I wake, pray to the Lord my soul to take. I can't sleep, these nightmares over. Gotta keep both hands on the wheel.
Taps into it. Like even when I'm not trying, every time something plays, I notice my actions, everything is connected to the song. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. 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 Whoa. What are you talking to me? Looking to fight on the G. I got no time for a tease. Money is all that I breathe. I got my tricks in my sleeve. I bitch a bit of a freak. Yo, they just came out of the womb. Need to be speaking my truth. You never stepped in my shoes. Yo, I'm pulling up in a few. Niggas don't know what to do. I'm taking all of the loot. Whoa, I got my fam on the bay. We can be sleeping all day. I got their blood in my veins.
I got your blood in my veins.
I got my gold in my chain. Nigga, I'm going insane. I'm taking all of the hate. I disappear like a ghost. I keep my ducks in a row.
I keep my ducks in a row.
Whoa, when you step into my zone, give me a hit on my phone. I get it over the low. Yo, pull up on your block, roll up please, yo. Chillin' with the homies makes it easier. I can sip on 40s, I can sip on this all night. I can sip on 40s, I can sip on this all night. Pull up on your block, roll up please, yo. Chillin' with the homies makes it easier. I can sip on 40s, I can sip on this all night. Hey, I can sip on 40s, I can sip on this all night. All night. Yeah. Yeah. What are you talking to me? Look at the price on the jeans. I got no time for a tease.
Look at the price on the jeans.
Money is all that I breathe. I got my tricks in my sleeve. I'm a bit of a freak. Yo, I just came out of the womb. Need to be speaking my truth. You never stepped in my shoes. Yo, I'm pulling up in a few. Niggas don't know what to do. I'm taking all of the loot. Whoa, I'm taking it.
I could care less, fool. Why play the same shit over and over?
My feet going rock climbing. All these niggas saying they rocked up, but none of them ain't got diamonds. Right, they not riding. Only thing I'm looking is a cop siren. I'm out driving, going across an island till I'm found hide about 5 hydrant. I'm not lying, so stop trying. Why the fuck is you lying? Damn, man, look like you back at it again. But then why if that look like the why I still ride? These drum ass. Lord have mercy, y'all these niggas selling ragamuffins. Mac, daddy, Mac, and ride and jumping. Together, stack and tack like one-on-one with Duncan. A crossover layer, maybe I might just stand with Duncan. Bodies on top of bodies, I had a coffins pumpkin, I pulling up in no Ford. American mustard that Ford. Let's take it back to that raw. 10 minutes of that store. Yo, pick fun another number 4. When the number's short, that's 100 more. I got 100 cars on the daily boy for the rugged raw with a line swap. Last call from my Iron King. I got an iron boy with a press niggas out America. You niggas soft like why you niggas want trying to force when I'm mine goes to press Chronicles like dinosaurs playing Diana Ross to get my blind across like an arrow does. Beware of us. Luke Toronto or old Toronto, same shit. Nah, just keep 6 for 6 up whenever drink snitch. New Toronto or old Toronto, same shit. Nah, just keep 6 for 6 up whenever drink snitch.
True story.
Nah, they gonna just start cyclic, no?
Free up the youth, damn.
See?
Free Kilo, free John,
See, Merchant YG.
OG. Go hard.
Go hard like Logan. Bodies DBS. All black on my clothing. X-Men, that's how we rolled in. Put it to you, have you jumping like the rose in. But you in your mouth, taking out your gold in. Put it to your next man, now it's neck frozen. Now I'm dipping in the stolen, creeping in, I'm scoping. I see him leave him open. Big large gun, there's no poking. Pop out the big, your head's open. Now you're floating. The body stays stiff in the ocean. Cruising with some deadly fish, so your body ain't exposing. DBS, I was chosen. So I hard for the golden. And make watch, don't care if it's stolen. But pop if you owe him. The black flag I was holding. 5 DB we rolling. 10 guns we be holding. 2 each so we gon' win. A headshot so you go spin.
Niggas not tryna see me with the DBS, cause you know the niggas I'm with, get it poppin'. Strap on my waist, you can tell by how I'm walking. Back left, you get live right in the coffin. I remember I almost got caught sleeping, shit had me tripping. On this block I'm sitting, call it camping. My niggas had me snapping. Now I'm sitting here plotting on my enemy. Had to get my own strap, niggas didn't fend for me. A fat blood and some Hennessy. Just to level me, this beat sounds heartfelt. Big bullets made the biggest niggas melt. That's a yes, nigga.
Every nigga I roll with call them scavengers. Somebody strapped to the beat, so mad at the caliber. Deal with you right, ain't no getting back at us. Do what I got it, then I'm dipping in the Avenger. Back to the bricks, doing the usual way. Felt like he was trying to hide, so I had to shoot a few. Gotta expect it, you know how down bottom shooters do. Cutted gloves and each your hoodie, black socks fitted too black. I'm about to get down to my business. Deal with them on the ones, no need for a witness. Hand me the ratchet, call me Mr. Fix It. Learn from my bro, no need for shooting if you miss it. Stop complaining, every day is a gift, every day enough. You got myself in the kitchen, it fiends everywhere. Pots whipping, I wanna move bricks, but a nigga hate. The strap I got on my waist stays kicking, and I be trained so I aim with precision. Hit him in the 6-pack, give him about 6 flat, and it's a rip rap. Nigga believe that's done. 3-2 and it only costs a G-stack. Something like it's only half of the re-end. Double M and DBS so that we bang.
Shout out to DJ Mike Soul, DJ Frey, DJ Despair.
Effect, Nightlife Radio DJ, Nightlife Radio Smooth, yeah. Female DJ, stand up. It's the early rapper, my early rapper. I get up and drop a bag on. Yeah, it's the early rapper, my early rapper. I get up and drop a bag on. Yeah, it's the early rapper, my early rapper. It's the early rapper, my early rapper. It's the early rapper, my early rapper. Back it up or get shut up. Then after all the rappers going down through the wire, such a show still culture vulture, apply pressure, true Santana, short I and air I might be busy fast time, and that ain't right, cause I'm like those guys, DMC just snitch like DJ Academics, even Tory Lanez might be busy fast time like Trump's lawyer, on the court's order, Cardi B got death threat, cause she wore a blood bandana dress, nigga, fuck you haters, I ain't lucky 12, they're bothering black kids for no reason. They don't fuck with me cause I'm different. And listen, my early probation just ended, taking chill chances, but I got locked up and going back. That's fact. Texas racist car that killed Sandra Bland. Now the court wanna settle for 1.9 million, man. Ain't enough for a lost woman. Lettuce killed 4 this year. Cannabis killed none. 97 people got killed in 2018. Enough government will never learn. These people that makes other people crazy. Double XL think I paid to rap.
People that makes other people crazy.
Is a satellite. Young niggas chasing cloud, trying to be loud. That's right. 50 help 6'9", still the best. Got involved and he like screw that kid. Nigga, what the fuck?
I feel like I have to explain everything he's saying because it's 2 years old.
I ain't fucking with no cops. They don't let us get involved with none of that political shit.
Look, some of us feel we shouldn't even interact with white man. I mean, we are African, brother. That's right. Mother Africa's the only salvation.
You look, you phony ass bougie nigga. We ain't in Africa. We in Oakland. In Oakland, we got police brutality. We got the white man interacting his billy club upside the black man's head. That shit don't bother you. Why don't you take your skirt wearing ass back to Africa? Yeah. I can't breathe around this bitch. Yeah, I can't breathe around this bitch. Yeah, I can't breathe around this bitch. Hands up, don't shoot. Michael Brown every corner. Let's stick together and be forever. Cause we're soldiers. I can't breathe around this bitch. Yeah, I can't breathe around this bitch. Young rapper, the shooter. Mama was a trooper and taught me well to survive through hell. In my DNA to get big. Grandfather was a soldier. He's a war vet. You're a small vet all alone. Educate your dome. Coming of age, flip the page. 10 years in the making of a star. Going far, wasn't born yesterday. Haters hate all day. It's their job. Cover 100,000 nations. Starving with for millions. Man, listen. I rap for the children, you rap for the hood rats, cops killing kids, blood spill and get promoted, nation voted. If he was a family member, I would have answered with pride and gave that man that did that. Cause I grew up in a gang and was raised by the streets. But I'm corporate, so I educate, being racial profiled by cops 100 times to keep it 100 lives. It wasn't during a crime, we're stupid, just liquid. I told them they're wasting their time. Pigs, do you know who my mom is? You don't want it with me. You don't want it with rockers. You don't want it with G. Nigga, I can't breathe around this thing. Yeah, I can't breathe around this thing. Yeah, I can't breathe around this thing. Yeah, I can't breathe around this thing. Hands up, don't shoot. Michael Brown every corner. Let's stick together and be forever. Cause we're soldiers. I can't breathe around this thing. I can't breathe around this thing. Hands up, don't shoot. Michael Brown, every corner. Let's stick together and be forever. Cause we a soldier. 'Cause I can't breathe around this pain. I can't breathe around this pain. I can't breathe around this pain. Hands up, don't shoot, knock it down. I can't breathe.
Yeah, we rap for the street niggas, man. The voice of the streets, the black top. Yeah, the niggas that be on the show, you on the turf out here, boy. You know what I mean? Hey, we got that military shit, nigga. Bullets by the ton. But I like you don't know. Let's run it.
I doubt you want some hot lamb. Fly to your outfit. Ain't no bringing back the bullet once I let the hammer hit. You never had damage, and I know what you dealing with. Try to fuck fear me, but nigga, I ain't feeling it. You know, niggas talking more than what you show. Cause you say just cause the niggas he know. Niggas gang, listen up, check this.
Damn, what you talking about?
I ain't giving a fuck about repercussions. I'm freshmen. I'm in a discussion like bitches, not just. I'll stop you in the middle of your sentence like a comma. You look like I'm blind. Yeah, with your brain sanitary. It's hosting you, and anyone to take the test. It's such as he's washed up like shells on the shelf. Walk up my gun on the shells, and if I see all better, I'm gonna hold the gun. But she's strong, no letter. I got me one, got me split with me. So I'll keep my son. Let's go. I'm a real rock that's sweet to the death. I ain't got to run. I got things in boxes before it's about to come. Look me in my eyes, you can tell that I'm a rider. When you come down, put me, I'm get all out the side. You put these with the gun in these streets. Niggas play for keeps where we from. Give a fuck, and I played around with that bitch shit. I'm fucking out your rounds and empty out real quick. We got to rise, ready to rise off time. So when the war crack off, we never rise off front line, nigga, and I'm out. It ain't too I can trust. Some niggas out here with a stitch and be a tell homie, wait a minute. That shit ain't gangsta. We ain't telling niggas that they pussy. That they nuts ain't got grown ass men with they nuts on top. But gonna be a picture. Got grown ass men with they nuts on top. But gonna be a picture. Dangerous, like play with this. Every slip little nigga, I stay with this. Ever since the ex on me shot my cousin in the face, I been riding around with a strap attached to my waist to go in the chamber. Ain't no time for cocky. Been on freeze up when this thing starts popping. Goddamn, bust backwards, take a third nap. Your left on the ground and blood pissing flat. I don't feel no butterflies. I'm a cheese gutter like the meat guys. Break the culture, mother dies. Make them dust fly into family members cry. If you fucking gun ammo, I keep a supply. Just wanna talk slick if you ready to die. I still react quick even though I'm hella high. I ain't living for another felony. Order served, I'm just doing the right thing. For you'll say yeah, oh my. I'm shooting on the gun. Shit's all real nigga. I got people, I got this nigga reports. Let's I'm a real rock next to the clip. So there's one thing for kids. I ain't got to run. I got things in boxes full of
Boulette gazelle, concon ange, je décide.
Straight out of Blitzburg, nigga.
I'm coming. I'm ready. Yeah. Hey, cruising down the street with my AR, strapped in the whip. We all trying to score. Better get low, cause we flip cars. Right behind the tank, we sing it from far. Cruising
Cruising down the street, I'm strapped in the whip. We all trying to score. Bet, get low, cause these hit hard. Strap out of 10. I'm seeing it in 4. I ain't gotta slide out the rap real quick. I'ma hop out the whip. Cruise down street on foot. AR-15, got 50 in the clip. Can't run from this. Ain't no kicking and shoot through bricks. Off the glass, I'm dunking shit. Block for fan with the rubber grip. Real quick, no with no clue. Don't come late night to cruise. The thing you still don't move. Fletch, I spit that cruising down the street with my AR. Strapped in the whip. We all trying to score. Better get low, cause we flip cars. Ride behind the tent. We seen it from far. Cruising down the street with my AR. Strapped in the whip. We all trying to score. Better get low, cause these hit hard. Strapped out of 10. We seen it from far. No trap backs when I come through. Them niggas know how bees do. All they heard was some loud shots when the cops came, get no clues. I put in work with that Smith & Wesson, and I put in work with that chop too. Ain't came like Bruce Lee, got kicked back, no kung fu. Young nigga with a lot of cash, I fuck this bitch and passed her to the class. He mad, he has a pound, so we cannot decide. No conversation in my Jason mask. Hey, cruising down the street with my AR. Strapped in the whip. We all trying to score. Better get low, cause we flip cars. Right behind the tent. We seen it from far. Cruising down the street with my AR. Strapped in the whip. We all trying to score. Better get low, cause these hit hard. Strap out of 10. We seen it from far.
My team's bricks, cruising my shit. I feel like the shit. Money ain't shit. The bitch ain't shit. I'm trying to get rich. Shooting ARs, ain't shooting out of cars. Pop out when I blitz. Me and bro don't mix. A brick for the kicks, ain't selling on the next. Yeah, I feel my thumb to the odds I got. Spin these bands like the monitor line. Get it for the low, we try and get a lot. Young boss, they go to school and I'm top. They ain't crazy, no one see real. Ain't changed, never talk, kept it real. Sitting in trap, try to get a couple mil. How get the trap, might take it no deal.
Cruising down the street. Strapped in the whip. We all trying to score. Better get low, cause we flip cars. Right behind the tent. We seen it from far. Cruising down the street with my AR.
This is 680 News, Toronto. Good morning. This is Sunday.
I think I'm ready to listen to this shit.
And I'm Madison Fitzpatrick. Here's what's making news this hour.
The death toll of the new coronavirus surpasses that of the SARS outbreak, but health officials say there's hope on the horizon.
In Thailand, countless lives are changed forever as a massive shooting kills at least 20 people.
Here at home, rotating strikes continue amongst elementary teachers in the province. We've got a full rundown of what GTA parents need to know.
And lights, camera, action. The Oscars kick off tonight, and we've got a review of the one of the 9 films up for Best Picture.
Some nervous moments in the fourth quarter as the Raptors try to win their 14th straight
I would love to know the details of what the land dispute was.
In Montreal, Sports 15. And coming up in business, Canadians want investment advice from a regulated source. We'll hear from IROC's Vice President of Strategy on how people feel about getting it online.
Regulated by
compared
who?
to a human.
680 News Time 101.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Michael Ranger. Well, if you're traveling on the 401 right now, it's a good drive in both directions, eastbound, westbound. There are no issues. It's up to speed all the way across the GTA. 404 northbound, southbound, no problems there. The 400 is up to speed. We do have some emergency vehicles and maintenance vehicles in the right shoulder of the southbound 400, just south of Rutherford Road. A car went into the ditch there, so they're dealing with that, but none of the live lanes are blocked. So no delays, obviously, with the light traffic through that stretch. If you're driving in or out of downtown right now, DVP up to speed in both directions, so is the Gardner. Just a reminder to drivers, the long-term construction on the Gardner means that the westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis remains closed. QEW is up to speed in both directions. 403 moving well, 410, 427 are all up to speed. If we look off of the major routes onto city streets right now, we did have an issue southbound Lower Simcoe at Front Street. There's some police activity there. Right lane was blocked. That has cleared. We've got a collision at Dundas and University. Emergency vehicles on scene. Westbound Dundas, one right lane is blocked at that intersection. Your next traffic report is at 1:11 with the forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A daytime high of +1 on your Sunday, but it will feel a little bit cooler than that in the morning, more like -9 with the wind chill. So bundle up. And we're dealing with mainly cloudy skies for much of the day, but are expecting some snow showers to begin in the evening. A low of -1. Your high for today, +1. Downtown Toronto right now, it's -7, feeling like -11 under a partly cloudy sky. And over at Peterson Airport, similar conditions there, -10, feeling like -16. 6 City News time, 1:03.
We begin with an update out of China. The global death toll from the Wuhan coronavirus has risen to at least 800 people, surpassing the number of fatalities from the deadly 2003 SARS outbreak.
Jerry Smith of the Canadian Press reports medical experts believe the spread of the virus could be lessening.
The number of new cases reported over the last 24 hours fell significantly from the previous period. Experts see that as a sign the spread of the virus may be slowing. Dr. Michael Ryan
It's
with
only
the World Health
24 hours.
Organization says every day they're looking at the chain of transmission around the world as a way to fight this virus.
We actually have a team looking at each individual transmission chain across all of the countries, so we can link each case to its potential origin and its potential exposure.
As of Saturday, 3,399 cases were reported over the previous 24 hours. SARS is widely considered to have killed 774 people and sickened more than 8,000. 44 SARS deaths were reported in Canada. From the Canadian Press, I'm Jerry Smith.
6 City News time at 1:04. In Thailand, a soldier who killed at least 21 people and injured 42 others has been fatally shot inside a mall in the northeastern part of the region 16 hours after he went on a rampage that started on a military base and ended with him holed up in the busy shopping center. Officials say the soldier, angry over a financial dispute, first killed 2 people and then went on a far bloodier spree Saturday, shooting as he drove to the mall where shoppers fled in terror. Video taken outside the mall showed people driving for cover, or diving for cover rather, as shots rang out. Many were killed outside the mall, some in cars, others while walking. About 16 hours later, officials held a news conference to announce the gunman was dead.
6 City News time, 1:04. Another round of strikes from the docket for elementary teachers as contract talks with the province continue to stall. Here's what you need to know for the week. On Monday, early childhood teachers from Durham Catholic School Boards, as well as Durham and Halton educators, will be walking off the job. All of ETFO's 83,000 members will be striking on Tuesday. And for Wednesday, Toronto and Toronto Catholic elementary teachers hit the picket lines. And on Thursday, public elementary educators from York and Peel districts are taking part in the one-day strike.
6 City News time, 1:05. Friday was caught on video in a violent altercation with 2 TTC special constables has been charged. The incident happened on board a streetcar on the 501 Queen Route near River Street shortly before 8 a.m. Friday morning. In the 12-second video posted on Twitter, the 2 constables are seen attempting to subdue the man. One of them seen pinning the passenger to a seat while the other sprays some sort of foam. Constable David Hopkinson for 6 City News.
Stephen Sackaberry, who's 34, of Toronto, has been charged and will be appearing in court.
Police say the man's been charged with 2 counts of uttering threats and 2 counts of assaulting an officer.
6 City News time, 1:06. Peel police are seeking the public's assistance in locating a missing 15-year-old boy from Mississauga. Mark Obahad was last seen on Wednesday around 7 p.m. in the Bancroft Drive area. He's described as 5'10" with black curly hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a black tramp pants, a Tommy Hilfiger hoodie, and a polo jacket. Police are concerned for Obahad's well-being as he requires medication he does not have with him. Anyone with information is asked to call investigators.
You're listening to 680 News. The Prime Minister says Canada and Ethiopia are working on a foreign investment protection agreement. Justin Trudeau is in Addis Ababa for meetings with his Ethiopian counterpart, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. He also spoke to an African Union Forum on gender equality and women's empowerment and about how Canada can help move that forward. Canada is also trying to secure support from several African nations as advised for a temporary seat on the United Nations Security Council.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News. 2 men in their 20s are identified as 2 of the city's latest homicides. Toronto police are releasing details of the male victims and continue to urge witnesses to come forward. 680's James Mackin has more.
Toronto has seen its fair share of shootings, and this weekend, Toronto police have identified the 2 latest shooting victims in the city. Both are 29-year-old men, and Constable David Hopkinson of Toronto Police tells us these 2 shootings are
Homicide number 9 and homicide number 10.
this year. The first happened on Wednesday, February 5th in the East End at Danforth and Greenwood Avenues. The victim was identified as Thomas Michael Alcott, and he was shot outside of a bar. Toronto police are looking for any witnesses to this shooting.
We know that there were quite a number of people in the area. We believe there are people that witnessed this incident, and the homicide detectives are looking to speak to those people.
The second shooting was on the night of Friday, February 7th, and took place in Etobicoke, near the intersection of the West Mall and Rathburn Road. The victim, identified as DeAndre Campbell Kelly, was found lying in the snow and was taken to hospital in an emergency run, where he passed away. Homicide detectives are investigating both shootings. I'm James Mackin.
680 News Time, 108. The 92nd annual Oscars are set for tonight, and Marriage Story is one of 9 films nominated for Best Picture. 680's Amber LeBlanc takes a look at the Netflix-produced drama that's considered a long shot to win.
Marriage Story is uncomfortable, exploring the big and small issues that drive couples apart.
But you and I both know you
So people watch shit that's uncomfortable to watch on purpose.
You didn't. You used me so you could get out of LA.
I didn't use you.
You did, and then you blamed me for it.
The film explores the concept that a happy ending isn't always so cookie cutter and what we expect it to be. It doesn't have any special effects, but you can't quite shake the feeling Marriage Story leaves you with. The realization that a lack of self-awareness and 1,000 little things can cause irreparable damage to any relationship. It also explores the impact of a sudden collapse of a comfortable reality.
Oh, thanks for that. You're welcome. I can't believe I can know you forever.
It's a film which asks couples to embrace the concept of self-awareness, and that sometimes the collective good for a family means sacrifices on both sides.
I'm sorry.
What does that mean?
Me too. Vulture sums it up best, explaining, love can still exist, albeit in a new shape. I'm Amber LeBlanc.
Coming up, traffic and weather together, but first we'll check on the price at the pumps. 680 News Time, 109.
You're listening to 680 News. Buying a new home? Then Caitlin Homes has a variety of innovative incentive offers for you. Choose from a selection of Caitlin inventory homes and offers that best suit your unique needs. Like 0% interest, exclusive Caitlin Homes rebates up to $40,000, or one of the rent-to-own programs. Yes, you can own a new home in Bowmanville. But these incentives won't last long. Limited inventory available. For more details, visit CaitlinCorp.com. Certain conditions apply.
Now, the 680 News gas price update. As Enpro predicted, the price of gas went up by a cent at midnight to $1.10.9 cents a liter at most GTA stations, and that price will hold until Tuesday. 680 News Time, 110.
There's an incredible place on beautiful Lake Rosso in Muskoka, packed with water slides, zip lines, sports, and tons of excitement.
Awesome. I can't wait to go.
Sorry, Dad. Kids only. Discover Muskoka Woods, a summer camp so excellent, parents want to come. Kids 6 to 16 can splash, run, swim, jump, and grow with over 60 activities and the brightest staff from around the world. Let your kids get the most out of their summer at Muskoka Woods. Visit muskokawoods.com. Muskoka Woods.
When it comes to performing your best, you watch what you eat. You stay as active as possible. And you know the importance of a good night's sleep. But what about the chair you sit in all day? If you sit while you work, your office chair has a significant effect on your health and productivity. Ergocentric office chairs are recommended by 94% of ergonomists for a reason. To learn more, visit ergocentric.com. Or better yet, get up and visit our showroom.
Ergonomists recommend ergonomic shit, eh? Really?
680 News Time at 1:11. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Michael Ranger. Well, still got a pretty quiet drive out on the major roads. We do have a new problem on the westbound 401. It's in the collector lanes just west of Bathurst. A collision there. Left lane is blocked. We've got some emergency vehicles on scene. Light traffic on the road, so it's not causing any delays, but some of the vehicles going by slowing down a little bit just because of the flashing lights. So just look out for that. If you're in the westbound 401 collectors, that's just west of Bathurst. Left lane is blocked. That's the only issue on the 401 in either direction. It is up to speed all the way across the city. 400's moving well northbound and southbound. We do have some emergency vehicles and maintenance vehicles in the right shoulder of the southbound 400, just south of Rutherford Road. There's a vehicle that went in the ditch there, but none of the live lanes are blocked, so obviously no delays through that stretch. 404 is up to speed in both directions. If you're driving in or out of downtown right now, DVP moving well northbound and southbound. Gardner's up to speed both eastbound and westbound. We've got that long-term construction on the Gardner, so just a reminder, westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis is closed. QEW is moving well in both directions. All your other major routes are up to speed. Looking at city streets, we did have a crash at Dundas and University. Emergency vehicles were on scene. The right lane of westbound Dundas was blocked, but that has now cleared. Your next traffic report is at 1:21 with the forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A daytime high of +1, a touch warmer than our seasonal average of -2. A mix of sun and cloud for much of the day, but we are expecting some snow showers to begin in the early evening around 6 p.m. or so. A low of -1. Monday, it warms up to +4, a mix of sun and cloud once more, and a low of -5. Your high for today, +1.
Right now, downtown Toronto,
Prove to me that a snow shower is a thing.
Over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions and -8. The wind chill making that feel like -15. Still to come on 6 City News, a list of your top stories and sports. 6 City News time, 1:13.
I'm here with Bill Coy of Coy Brothers, and we're talking about falling in love with
Toro snowblowers.
You're such a romantic, Bill. I can just imagine Valentine's Day for your wife.
Roses are red, Toros are too. When it snows a pile, your wife will thank you.
Hey, I love my heavy-duty Toro snowblower. It has easy-to-use controls, an electric start for my wife, and hand warmers, too.
Melts your heart, doesn't it?
Cupid ain't got nothing on you, Bill. Say I love you with a Toro snowblower from Coy Brothers.
Yeah, honey, go fucking clear the driveway.
I wasn't expecting to be diagnosed with cancer.
To take my child to emergency.
I don't know how she's gonna take that if you give her a
I
snowblower.
also wasn't expecting my doctor to be so compassionate while I cried.
To give a lollipop to my son as we discuss the surgery.
To help me communicate what's happening to my dad. You can expect Ontario's doctors to be there when you need them. We're committed to putting you at the center of our care because we are Ontario's doctors and we're leading you to better health. Brought to you by the Ontario Medical Association.
How do you people have so much money you're taking out ads to tell us how good you are at what you do?
It's -7 and partly cloudy. Good morning from the 6 City News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Tim Chapman. Here are the top stories for this hour. Over
Teachers have enough money for ads. The doctors have enough money for ads.
Novel coronavirus. The medical experts believe the spread of the virus could be lessening, with the number of new cases over the past 24 hours slowing down. A soldier who killed at least 21 people and injured 42 others has been
Last
fatally
24
shot
hours
inside
is
a
a
mall
week.
in
I don't
northeastern
know. I don't think
Thailand.
that's real.
16 hours after he went on a rampage that started on a military base and ended with him holed up inside a busy shopping center. And Hollywood's annual star-studded affair that is the Oscars gets underway tonight. Stay tuned to 6 City News for a full review of all 9 films up for the night's most coveted prize of Best Picture. 6 City News time at 1:15. Now 6 City Sports from Sportsnet 590 Fan. Here's Colin Pesky.
Both the Leafs and Raptors playing on back-to-back nights. Let's start with the Leafs in Montreal, and John Tavares finally broke up in a 0-0 tie in the third, but late in the frame, the puck found Marco Scandella.
Pops into the blue line. Over on the near wing and comes for Scandella.
1-1, that meant overtime.
Gets into the rebound. And a race for the puck. Nick Suzuki had the breakaway. In on goal. Kovalchuk scores.
Ilya Kovalchuk ends it for Montreal. The waiver pickup has been rejuvenated since joining Montreal, and the Canadiens improving to 3-0 versus the Maple Leafs with a 2-1 win. Meantime, Raptors and Nets, Toronto searching for their 14th straight win. Would Karis LeVert make this a game with a new career high with 31 points?
LeVert takes to the foul line, down, puts it up, and puts it through. LeVert now at 31, a new career high.
Pascal Siakam would hit the game-winning free throw under 30 seconds remaining. Raptors won their 14th straight, a new franchise record, 119-118. The final. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
680 News Time, 1:16.
At Infinity, we know that luxury is not one size fits all. During the Infinity Find Your Match event, you can customize your vehicle and your offer. Choose the versatile mid-size QX50 crossover with an exceptional 36-month lease offer. If you're the savvy accountant type, you can choose from a lease rate reduction or a cash incentive. If you like things worry-free, you can pick our no-charge maintenance plan. It's the Find Your Match event. Experience your life elevated in an Infinity.
Auf Wiedersehen, arrivederci, ciao, adios. No matter where in the world you or your customers are, you can say goodbye to boundaries thanks to Adyen, the payments platform that supports payments across the globe. From New York to Shanghai, from Singapore to Sao Paulo, reach more customers in more places with Adyen, the payments platform of choice for the world's leading companies. Adyen, business, not boundaries. Learn more at adyen.com. That's ADYEN.com.
A Toronto rally held in solidarity with Coastal GasLink pipeline protesters out of BC disrupted passenger train services for several hours yesterday. In an update, CN Rail says it's obtained an injunction to halt the protests, causing delays across southern Ontario.
Nearly 200 demonstrators taking part in this disruptive rally, and Ali says he isn't leaving.
People are going to stay here as long as they can, weather permitted.
They're protesting the Coastal GasLink pipeline being constructed on Wet'suwet'en First Nation territory in northern BC. While this block is along the CP rail line, demonstrators in Belleville caused a second day of cancellations of all Via Rail train services between Toronto and both Montreal and Ottawa.
It's not just an inconvenience for settlers and people trying to commute. This is an inconvenience for the nations who are saying they don't consent to these pipelines, and that it's an inconvenience for them to get dispossessed from their land.
Via Rail says it's refunding all passengers affected. At I'm Michelle Matthews.
At West Calgary, police have charged a person in the death of a Saskatchewan man who was in the Calgary area before going missing. 47-year-old Sheldon Wolf from Carrot River was found dead in an area outside of Airdrie on Tuesday. 680's Josh Ritchie has the update.
Police have now charged 23-year-old Victor Briama with first-degree murder. Sheldon Wolf was reported missing on Monday. His last known location was him leaving the Sandman Hotel located in the heart of Calgary's downtown a day earlier. RCMP were called to an area outside of Airdrie on Tuesday where they found the body of the 47-year-old. At the time, officers deemed his death suspicious, saying in a previous release they believed Wolf willingly met individuals he had no relationship with before coming to Calgary. Evidence connected to Wolf's disappearance was discovered in Elston Park, and a search of the park occurred on the same day that his body was found. An autopsy conducted on his remains confirmed to police that Wolf had died as a result of a homicide. Briama is due to appear in courts on Monday. I'm Josh Ritchie.
I don't know.
This is 680 News. A Saturday Night Live bypassed this week's impeachment vote for an opening skit on the New Hampshire Democratic debate, bringing back former cast members Jason Sudeikis and Rachel Dratch to play Joe Biden and Amy Klobuchar. But it was Larry David who was given some of the best lines for his portrayal of Bernie Sanders. He mocked the app that failed to count results in the Iowa caucus, saying voters should take a number like they were waiting in line at the butcher. Meanwhile, Colin Jost playing Pete Buttigieg deadpanned Donald Trump when asked who he thought won in Iowa. Coming up, traffic and weather together. 680 News Time, 1:20.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Osmak. If you watch Sportsnet, then you might have heard that I'm pregnant. That's right, sports fans, there's another Osmak on the way. The words pregnant and good night's sleep, though, don't exactly mix. I was struggling. Enter the sleep experts at Sleep Country. They helped me pick the right pillow for my unique sleep needs. Turns out the BioSoy pillow was the perfect choice. The high-density foam adapts to my head and neck to better support my tired back. Trust me, when you're midway through your third trimester, you need all the support you can get. And the all-natural hypoallergenic cover provides comfort all night long. Thanks to my new BioSoy pillow, I am sleeping like a baby. Right now, buy one BioSoy pillow at Sleep Country and get a second BioSoy pillow free. Restrictions apply. See store for details. Sleep Country, all for sleep.
News Time, 1:21. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Michael Ranger. Just looking at one problem out on the major highways right now, southbound 400, just south of Rutherford Road. A car went into the ditch there. They're just in the process of towing it out. Now, right lane was initially blocked, and then it was just the right shoulder, and now we've got some maintenance vehicles back in the right lane. So one right lane of the highway blocked southbound 400 just south of Rutherford Road as they're in the process of towing a vehicle out of the ditch there. But obviously very light traffic on the roads right now, so even with that one right lane being blocked, there are no delays through that stretch. We did have a crash on the westbound 401 west of Bathurst in the collectors. Left lane was blocked. That has cleared, so no issues at all now on the 401 in either direction. 404 is up to speed in both directions. If you're driving in or out of downtown, DVP northbound, southbound, no problems there. Gardner is up to speed both eastbound and westbound. We do have that long-term construction on the Gardner. It's down to 2 lanes in both directions from York Street over to the DVP. That's not causing any problems right now, but just a reminder, as part of that, the westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis remains closed. QEW up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. All your other major routes are moving fine at this time. Your next traffic report is at 1:31 with the forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A daytime high of +1 on your Sunday, but it will feel a little bit cooler than that in the morning, more like -9 with the wind chill. So bundle up. And we're dealing with mainly cloudy skies for much of the day, but are expecting some snow showers to begin in the evening, a low of -1. Your high for today, +1.
Right now, downtown Toronto, -7 and partly cloudy. Over at Pearson Airport, -8. The wind chill making that feel more like -15. 680 News Time, 1:23.
Need window inspiration? Then you need to speak to the experts. Hi, I'm Tom Rokiki of Inline Fiberglass Windows and Doors. Our window experts are experienced in working with architects, builders, and homeowners to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So whether you're replacing your old windows or building your dream home, dream the dream with Inline Fiberglass. If you can dream it, we can build it. Visit our Factory Direct showroom, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or inlinefiberglass.com.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, the latest on the rising death toll of the novel coronavirus and how the epidemic's affecting Canadians, followed by details surrounding a mass shooting in Thailand. And then what GTA parents need to know about rotating strikes among elementary teachers next week. 680 News Time, 1:24.
Be the first to know.
With 680 News, breaking news alerts.
Delivered to your device the moment it happens.
Powered by the Monitoring Center Home Security.
Subscribe now
at 680news.com.
680 News Time, 1:24. This just into 680 News from Peel Police, who say the Central Robbery Unit is investigating after a person's car was stolen from them at Knife Point in Mississauga. The call came in early this morning from the area of Grand Park Drive in Burnhamthorpe. No one was injured in the carjacking, and there's no suspect description at this time. Stay with 680 News for more on this story. You're listening to All News Radio, 680 News. Canada's women's basketball team is Tokyo bound. Natalia Chanwa scored 24 points and 8 rebounds to lead the Canadians to an easy 80-50 victory over Sweden, clinching Canada its 3rd consecutive Olympic berth. Canada needed to finish ahead of Belgium or Sweden in the 4-team qualifying tournament to advance to Tokyo. Team Canada's women's basketball are the 8th Canadian team to qualify, joining the women's soccer led by Christine Sinclair. 680 News Time at 1:25. Your weekend business report, 60 seconds away.
Your doctors and family agree that you can't work, and still your long-term disability insurer denies your claim. I know that the stress of the denied claim is making you worse. So what are you going to do? My name is Aaron Waxman, and if your insurance denied your claim for any reason, call me at 416-661-4878. And don't worry about upfront legal fees, because there are none. At my law firm, my lawyers only get paid when you get paid. And before you call, you should always remember that there are no bad questions. 416-661-4878 or on your cell phone at Pound LTD.
It all started with a passion to innovate, with a young man determined to honor his father's legacy. With the purchase of C-Ation, Ted Rogers changed the communications landscape forever, bringing us all together in ways we could have never imagined. 60 years ago, Ted Rogers started our company to connect Canadians to the people, places, and things that matter most, and to make more possible for all of us.
Make more.
680 News Time, 1:26. Now the 680 News Weekend Business Report.
I'm Carl Garnish. Regulation remains key for Canadian investors. According to a national survey by the Investment Industry Regulatory Organization of Canada, or IROC,
Nearly 9 in 10 current investors and nearly 7 in 10 of aspiring investors feel it's important that investment advice come from a regulated firm or individual. Kathy Engel, Vice President of Strategy at IROC, says regulation comes with a number of rules and expectations.
There are certain levels of education and experience, and beyond the proficiency, there's continuing education so that you make sure you stay current. And then there's oversight. Our key role is to protect investors and ensure their trust in the integrity of Canada's markets. And so we review and make sure that we've got a line of sight very regularly across the firms and their registered advisors in terms of making sure that they're following the rules and standards.
When it comes to online advice, the data found 31% of current investors and 44% of aspiring investors believe it has less regulatory protections than advice received from a human. But Engel says it's important to look at the findings from the flip side.
So you've got 70% of investors that believe that online models carry the same or higher levels of regulatory protection. Regardless of how you want to look at it, it's an important message for all of us to understand how investors feel about the level of protection, to understand the type of investment account or relationship that they have in place, and the regulatory protections that are available, whether they are working with an advisor in person or online.
She adds that helping Canadians build financial stability is crucial for the country's economy.
It's important for all stakeholders in the industry to work to instill confidence and improve financial literacy for all investors. Everyone needs to know what advice and services are available to them to help them achieve their financial goals.
Kathy Engel is the Vice President of Strategy at IROC. At the Business Center, I'm Carl Garnage.
Put us on and find out what to wear. The best weather reports in the city every 10 minutes on 680 News.
How do these people keep getting released? Killer sexual predator granted unescorted passes to BC Healing Lodge. There's no drug dealer Healing Lodge, eh? Like, there's no... Killer Stuart McKellar Cameron has finally admitted harboring a quote-unquote deep-seated resentment of Asian women when he terrorized 4 victims 20 years ago in North York. 20 years goes by pretty quick, eh? The sexual predator was considered an enigma. You're painting a story around this motherfucker. The sexual predator was considered an enigma, a soft-spoken, seemingly law-abiding father of 3 when he admitted murdering Taiwanese student Tina Wu and almost killing her 14-year-old sister Teresa on July 27, 2000. Cameron also attacked 2 other Asian women in separate home invasions in 1999 and 2000. No one could determine why the shy part-time carpet cleaner unleashed gratuitous escalating violence against 4 innocent women, all of whom lived within 4 kilometers of his home near Fairview Mall. The killer claimed it was a, quote, mere coincidence. His victims were all Asian females. He was just stoned and robbing them to fuel his drug habit. It doesn't specify what drug. Justice David Watt rejected Cameron's claims, describing him as, quote, an enigma and his life as, quote, as a, quote, paradox. Why is the justice writing these things about him? That is so strange. Cameron pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, attempted murder, and other charges in March 2002. Okay, hold on a second. It's only been... and was sentenced to life imprisonment with no chance of parole for 20 years. At a National Parole Board hearing in November 2019, I can count. So March... I don't say when he got arrested, but... it's only 17 years, right? At a National Parole Board hearing in November 2019, Cameron, who is of Guyanese, Indigenous, and Scottish descent, was granted unescorted temporary absence passes to attend an Indigenous healing lodge at some long-ass name with X's in it, Quick Wexelip Healing Village, a minimum security institution at Harrison Mills, BC, where the focus is on spiritual and cultural healing. So I don't understand why he needed a pass. Couldn't they just have put him in that jail? He got to like transport himself there or something. And here, this pisses me off. In 2014, he requested that his race be changed from Latin American to North American Indian, and his religion from Christian to Native spirituality, the board noted. Okay, how come mine still says white, motherfuckers? Cameron, 51. I've never, ever told these people I was white. They've never heard from anybody I'm related to that I'm white, so I don't know why they heard that. So it's not on my birth records, because my birth records don't say that. Cameron, 51, finally revealed the motive behind his vicious, violent attacks. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Resentment against Asian women. It just doesn't get any worse than this, said retired Toronto police officer Gary Giroux, who investigated 200 murders during his record 22 years as a homicide detective. This is the nightmare scenario where a knife-wielding masked intruder breaks into your home and attacks these women in their beds. I still have safety concerns about him. Cameron attacked his first victim while she slept in her Havenbrook Boulevard home at 1 a.m. on July 8, 1999, and he forced her to perform a sex act which left his DNA on a towel. The next surviving victim was attacked in her house on the same street on January 20th, 2000. See, that's only 20 years now. So how? After she dropped her young children at school, she told The Sun in an interview Friday that Cameron's primary intent was sexual, not robbery. Cameron had already forced her to turn over her cash, Rolex watch, and bank card. Then, brandishing the knife close to her, he demanded, "Take off your clothes." He was so angry with me that I wouldn't submit, said the 59-year-old mother of two who bears an uncanny resemblance to Cameron's then Filipino wife. Then-Filipino. I think you mean Filipina, then wife, because she would still be Filipina. Quote, I fought like hell, just like the Wu sisters. I kept activating my car alarm, she recalled. Fortunately, my neighbor arrived in time, ringing the doorbell. She is clearly rankled by Cameron spending time in the Healing Lodge and claiming himself to be Native. I'd just like to know why he needs an unescorted pass to get there, and why it's not been 20 years yet. Quote, I'm not happy with him attending a Healing Lodge, said the victim. Should he be in a minimum security facility? How do I know he has done the psychological work? I don't think you get over killing a bunch of people for no good reason. I do this emotional healing for a living. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Working in the healing profession, said the victim, who once worked in foreign exchange and then was a stay-at-home mom before Cameron invaded her sanctuary. He's this quiet, unassuming guy who can turn into a monster, the woman said. Is he going to reoffend? Quiet, unassuming guy. Didn't she get attacked in her house? He probably has rage and control issues, and he has vented that out on innocent women, she said. If it was Stuart Cameron's intent to ruin lives, he unquestionably succeeded in doing so, a woman who can't be identified said in the victim impact statement she'll file with the parole board at his next hearing. What about his last hearing? Having survived being attacked in her North York home by the killer sexual predator 20 years ago, she asked who on the parole board, quote, wants to be responsible for making that possibly fatal decision to release him. Beyond a doubt, I am no longer Stuart Cameron's victim. I don't think about him every day or every month. I remember to think about him every time he applies for parole leave, wrote the brave woman who has since become a counselor and now helps others heal after enduring her own trauma. I'm grateful that I was saved by my neighbor and did not have to experience even more tragedy because, unlike Tina Wu and probably her family, I have been able to lead a very full and joyful life. Retired Toronto Police Homicide Detective Gary Giroux, who vowed to represent the heartbroken Wu family, said he will present a community victim impact. What the fuck is that? A community victim impact statement at Cameron's next hearing. You can do that? I thought you had to be directly affected. Quote, I will describe how frightened that community was at the time and hope that it's something they will consider when he returns to his healing lodge in BC, said Giroux. When he returns? Where the fuck is he? Quote, Cameron was a real paradox, capable of such horrific violence, and yet when he spoke, his voice was so soft, I had to pull close to him and ask him to speak up just to hear him. Yeah, people do that on purpose, said Giroux. That's a psychopath move. That's not... How is that a paradox? Why are people giving these fucking eloquent fucking evaluations of people? The survivor stressed she doesn't think it's safe to release Cameron into society. Quote, he stole a life, an innocent life, and in the most terrifying manner possible. There are no guarantees he will not murder someone or viciously attack another innocent person again, she wrote. I'm usually a forgive and forget type of person, but with a scary predator like Cameron, I will forgive him only while he is safely behind prison bars. That's an interesting way to phrase that. How the fuck is he on unescorted day passes November 2019 it doesn't say when he got arrested. There's no fucking drug dealer healing lodge, eh?
Alcott of Toronto, who apparently was gunned down outside of a bar while smoking.
That man was taken to hospital via emergency run, but he succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased in a hospital.
The second homicide was in Etobicoke at the West Mall and Rathburn Road on Friday night. This victim was identified as DeAndre Campbell Kelly, also 29. He was found lying in the snow with a gunshot wound and died in hospital later that night. Toronto police are still investigating both homicides. I'm James Mackin.
Well, yeah, I would hope they were still investigating.
And we're taking a look at the 9 films up for Hollywood's most coveted prize
tried
at
to
the
give up. That
Oscars
was
tonight.
yesterday.
This one could
Good
make
day.
history.
Parasite, an organism that lives in its host and benefits by deriving nutrients at the other organism's expense. That definition is the only way I can tell you the plot of this film without giving too much away. Director Bong Joon-ho tells a story about class divide in South Korea through a brilliant play with genre, dancing between comedy and horror.